Hi, my name's Kyle. Today we're going to take a look at Jamf Unlock configured within Okta. Before we dive into the configuration of Jamf Unlock, we first need to have a look at the requirements that need to be met for successful deployment. These requirements are a valid Jamf Connect subscription, an MDM solution such as Jamf Pro. Jamf Connect is an MDM agnostic tool, but for the purposes of this demo, we are going to use Jamf Pro. You're also going to need a managed iOS device, being iOS 14 or later, that's connected to the internet. That iOS device is also going to need a passcode configured and Face ID or Touch ID enabled. For the purposes of this demo, we're going to use a device that has Touch ID. Your computer is going to need to be on macOS 10.15.4 or later and have Jamf Connect 2.4 or higher installed, as that was the release point for Jamf Unlock, as well as a local account with administrator privileges. Now, also for the purposes of this demo, we are going to be integrating this new feature into an environment where Jamf Connect is already configured and it's matured. So within this demonstration, we aren't going to go through how to deploy Jamf Connect, but simply how to add Jamf Unlock into your existing Jamf Connect deployment. So for the first piece of this integration, you're going to want to update your existing Jamf Connect application within your Okta admin tenant. For the sake of this demo, I've already signed in, and I'll bring this up now. You should be familiar with this pane here. Within the general settings, we're going to edit this. Scroll down to the bottom and add in a new URI. That being Jamf Unlock //callback//auth, and then just hit save. This concludes the piece within inside of Okta that you need to configure for Jamf Unlock. For the macOS device, you'll be required to deploy a set of keys down to the device to enable the Jamf Unlock feature. If you look at the example on the screen at the moment, you can see that we are targeting the com.jamf.connect domain. This is because we are purely targeting the menu bar application and not Jamf Connect login. The two keys that you are going to need to send down are enable unlock and set that to true, and require PIN and set that to true. The combination of these keys will enable the Jamf Unlock pairing within the Jamf Connect menu bar application, and it will also require a PIN to be used when accessing services that require an administrative password. We'll see examples of these later on in the video, but for now, let's jump onto our MacBook Pro and deploy these keys and see how they affect the machine. As you can see here, I have a macOS Big Sur device, and it has Jamf 2.4.4 installed on it. I'm just going to take a quick peek inside the menu bar application. You can see the general standard menu bar settings are configured there. Moving into my Jamf Pro console, we're going to go to the configurations profiles. As you can see, I have a configuration profile here called Jamf Connect -Okta. This has all my settings that is required to deploy Jamf Connect with Okta in this environment here. Like I previously mentioned, we're configuring this in a mature environment, so we're just going to be adding on to the com.jamf.connect domain with the information required and the keys required to deploy Jamf Unlock for the sake of this demo. In your environment, you can add in the keys into your existing config, or you can do it like I have here and create a second configuration profile to deploy this down to devices. Let's take a look at this configuration profile now. I'm just going to click on this Jamf Unlock here, and you can see that I've uploaded the plist information in application and custom settings. You can see here that I'm targeting the com.jamf.connect domain, which is the menu bar application information, as well as two keys, enable unlock and require PIN to unlock the device. So now I'm just going to go ahead and scope this to my test device here, and then once that's scoped and deployed, we're going to see what happens to the Jamf Connect menu bar application. So now we have a successful deployment of that configuration profile. I'm going to take a look at the Jamf Connect menu bar application. You're going to see a new menu item called Pair Devices. We'll select that. New window opens and we click Pair Device. You are now presented with a QR code. you'll scan this QR code when you use the Jamf Unlock app within the iOS device. Now that you have the menu bar application configured on the macOS device, we need to configure some managed application settings for the iOS device. You've purchased the Jamf Unlock application through Apple Business Manager and you're ready to deploy it to your managed iOS device. Before doing so, you need to update the Jamf Unlock app configuration information with some keys. I have an example on the screen at the moment, and this is enough to get you going within your testing. So first off, you're going to need to define your OIDC provider, which you can see here is Okta. The next key you need to define is your Okta tenant name. And you can see in the string that it's simply my company. Down the bottom, I've put an important note regarding the tenant naming convention. This tripped me up on my first deployment of this. So if your company's Okta tenant is called mycompany.okta.com, it's simply just my company for this key. The next key is your client ID. You should be familiar with this, and you find that within your Jamf configuration inside of Okta, inside of that application. The next is the redirect. So you can see that we've defined that key, which we previously set in the Jamf Connect application configuration within inside Okta. We're also going to require a PIN to unlock the device, so we're going to set that to true, and we're also going to set that PIN to rotating. So now let's take a look at deploying this to a managed iOS device and see how that all works once we scan the QR code. Let's take a look at configuring the managed iOS devices application, Jamf Unlock. So jumping back into the Jamf admin console, we're going to go across to mobile device apps. I'm just now going to select the Jamf Unlock application. I'm going to ensure that it is being pushed automatically to users or prompt to install. After I've ensured that's being done, I'm going to ensure that managed distribution has been configured. Moving past that, I'm going to ensure that I have my app configuration. And in this app configuration, you're going to see that I have defined the identity provider, the client ID, the tenant ID, the redirect URI, as well as requiring a PIN to unlock and to rotate that PIN as well. As I didn't make any changes, I'm just going to hit cancel here. Once everything is defined and set, you're going to need to scope it to your test device. Here you'll see me just scope it to the device that I'll be using for the purpose of this demo. Now that both the menu bar application and the Jamf Unlock iOS application are configured, we can go ahead and pair devices by going to the Pair Device menu item within the Jamf Connect application and selecting Pair Device. On the iOS device, you're going to need to open up Jamf Unlock and scan the QR code. But before doing so, you'll need to sign into your Okta account. Once you sign in with your Okta account and move forward with the process, the Jamf Unlock iOS app will actually ask you to approve a number of services that it requires to work on the iOS device. This includes Wi-Fi services, location services, and notification services at the end. So you can just see here that I'm allowing the application to use Touch ID. You'll see that I'm allowing the application to use the local network to scan for devices, and it is also asking for my location. I've just approved all of these, and once you've approved them all, you should then be able to scan the QR code to continue. So just allowing it access to my camera here, scanning the code here. Took me a few moments to get it, and that's it. Once the iOS device has been configured, you'll see back on the Mac here that it is asking me to just allow this account to use the iOS device pairing to unlock the account. So I'm just going to enter my password here, which is also my admin credentials. And back on the left here, you can now see that my account is paired and I've got a rotating PIN. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter my password there, and boom, now we have that iOS device paired. If we go up to the menu bar application, we can now see that the enable unlock feature is toggled on. Now we're going to look at a couple of use cases and how this all works together. Firstly, we're going to go into system preferences here, and we're going to try and change a preference that requires an admin password. You'll see the dialog box come up in a second when we unlock the date and time pane, that it will have a pin where the password should be. So we're going to enter the pin that we have on the left there, and then press unlock. What you'll then see back on the iOS device is that it is going to ask you to allow the unlock with your Touch ID or Face ID if you have Face ID. You can see that the unlock authentication was successful and we've unlocked that system pane for use. We're going to move on to another use case now. We're going to just run a sudo command in terminal. We're just going to do a sudo jamf recon, and you'll see here again it is asking for the pin. So back on the iOS device, we're going to enter the pin we see on the left there, and then press enter. We're going to be prompted for Touch ID to approve this sign in, and then you'll see the device submitting the recon. I'm just going to cancel out of the recon here and move on to another use case. I'm just going to lock the computer now to simulate that it's gone to sleep. And you'll see here upon wake up that it needs a pin. So again, we're going to enter the pin that's on the left there. We're going to use Touch ID to approve that sign in, and we'll log into the machine. Currently, these are the three only use cases for Jamf Unlocked. One to unlock system preference planes, the other being to approve sudo commands, and finally to be used when waking the device from a sleep state. And that now concludes my demonstration of Jamf Unlock configured with Okta. If you'd like more information or a written guide on how to configure Jamf Unlock, on the screen I have the link to the admin document produced via Jamf. This also contains information on how to configure Jamf Unlock with Azure. Thank you for watching.